Okay, I'm going to read you guys a story, and it's my story. I recently went to Cambodia, and I had to write a paper for my English class, and I just want to read it out to you guys. And it says, I walked along the side of a muddy road, holding a little girl's hand. We can't understand each other, since we both speak different languages, but that doesn't matter. She swings my arm as we walk along, looking up at me occasionally and smiling. I wonder about her past. How did she come to be at Rafa House? I know that she is here because she was trafficked and forced into the sex slave trade. But how could anyone rape a little 8-year-old girl? Why are people not fighting for these children? I stop my thoughts as she pulls me into a huge mud puddle and starts to laugh. I try not to think about all the mud on my shoes and how dirty and muddy my pants are getting. I just continue to be pulled along the side of the road by this little girl. As we make our way back to Rafa House, we walk over to a water hose where another Rafa girl grabs my feet and proceeds to wash off all the mud. This particular little girl has special needs. She is mentally retarded, and yet she is here at Rafa House because she was trafficked too. The only thing that these girls want is to be loved and cared for because they've never had that. All they've ever known is violence, and I want to change that. I want to end human trafficking by making people aware of what is going on around the world. Tonight, I want to talk to you guys about human trafficking and what you guys can do to stop it. But before I talk about the things that you guys can do and get involved in ending human trafficking, I want to tell you what human trafficking is because a lot of people don't know what human trafficking is. So, human trafficking it's a huge long paragraph because they have to have everything in it so that it covers everything. But it is the recruitment, transportation, transfer, or harboring of persons by the threat or use of kidnapping, force, fraud, deception, or coercion, or by the giving or receiving of unlawful payments or benefits to achieve the consent of a person having control over another person for the purpose of exploitation. And summed up, all human trafficking is slavery. That is all human trafficking is. It is modern day slavery. And so there are only 3 types of human trafficking. There is forced labor, which is everywhere. In India, you can actually buy children less than you can buy cattle. That children cost less than cattle in India. And that was really shocking to me. And then you have child soldiers, which is in Africa. The LRA, which is the Lord's Resistance Army, goes in and kidnaps the children and then forces them to kill other people. And then there's sex trafficking. And those are the only types of human trafficking. And there are only 3 types that people go into human trafficking. No one willingly goes into human trafficking. They're either kidnapped. Street kids are kidnapped all the time because no one's there to protect them. They don't have parents, and so it's really easy for traffickers to come in, kidnap the kids on the street because no one's going to care. They're sold. They are sold by their friends or by a relative because they need money to feed their other kids, so selling one kid is okay to them. They don't see it as wrong. And then they're either tricked. Since countries are so poor, traffickers go into these villages and say, hey, there's a job in the city, it's a waitressing job or it's a factoring job. Let me have your kids, and she can send home money, and you guys can have food to live on. She can have a job. It's a great opportunity. You guys should really take it. And the family thinks it's an amazing offer, so they send their kids with this trafficker, and the next thing they know, they're sold into a brothel or...
Are you girls staying for a little bit more? Oh, are you videotaping?
It's okay.
I'm sorry.
Or they're sold into a factory where they're forced to work for hours and hours with unbearable conditions, and they get no pay for it. Estimates over human trafficking. There is 27 million people in slavery today, and that is more slaves than at any other point in history. A lot of people think that slavery back in the transatlantic times when it was illegal and there was ships going, it was big then, but actually there are more slaves in today's society, and we're supposed to be civilized. There are 1.2 million children trafficked every year, and that's new children trafficked. That's not the children that are already trafficked. That's 1.2 million more children every year that are going into this. There are over 17,000 people brought into the United States for human trafficking. A lot of people think that human trafficking is overseas in Cambodia and Thailand and Africa and India, but it's also happening here. There has been human trafficking cases in all 50 states. And then human trafficking is a $32 billion industry. It's a huge, huge industry. If it was ranked on the Fortune 500 list, which is a list of companies and how big they are, it would be right up next to Disney and Coca-Cola. And we all know how big Disney is. You got Disney princesses, you got Disney movies, you got Disney World and Disneyland. I mean, Disney's huge, and human trafficking is just as big, if not bigger. And so I found this quote, and I really, really liked it because it says, "We don't know their names, we only know their number. And numbers are numbing. It's so easy for us to ignore suffering when it doesn't have a name or a face, isn't it?" And I thought that was so true because you hear 27 million people are in slavery, but you don't realize that that's 27 million people. You just hear the number and say, yeah, that's a lot, but you don't put a face to the number, that there are 27 million people in slavery. And that's a person with hopes and dreams that are being crushed because people aren't speaking out about it. They aren't doing anything. They're ignoring the problem. So I want to encourage you to do it. And these are the faces. These girls and boys were trafficked. And we could have stopped it. We could have prevented it if we had been doing something. So we can't ignore this problem because children are being hurt every single day. And so how to stop human trafficking? The first thing is to become educated. Once you become educated, you can start speaking out. But until you become educated, you can't speak out about the problem. There are a ton of books you can read. There are a ton of websites that you can get on and look at. Not for Sale by David Batstone is a really, really good book to read. The Natasha's, Slave Hunter, Terrified No More. They're all great books. They all talk about human trafficking and what we can do to help end it. And so once you become educated, start speaking out. You've got friends, you've got family, you've got coworkers. You can always tell someone. You've got a circle of influence and you can tell those people. And once you tell those people, they can start telling other people and the word will get out and this problem will eventually end. And then you can get involved. And then help organizations. They kind of go together because once you start getting involved in helping organizations, you are giving either financial support or your time and you're helping to end human trafficking because organizations always need financial support. They always need people to help around the offices or actually go out to other places and make documents on slaves and all kinds of stuff. So they always need your help. And that's just a couple of reasons to stop it. But it is a huge problem and it's our problem because they are children and they're supposed to be protected. They're supposed to have the family and we need to give them a voice because they don't have a voice. We are their voice and so we need to speak out. That's it. Okay, you guys can go.